Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Yaka.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I'm so happy to have here with me today Badass Mother Hustler, Cori Myka. She is the mom of two and the owner of Calm Within Adult Swim. Every entrepreneur mother has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So I was really excited. I didn't get to catch you at the end of my last season of recording. So I was happy when I was able to catch you for this new season because I find your business very interesting. And there's nothing like it near me. So I can't wait for all of our listeners to hear about it and the journey and why helping Adult Swim is more than just swimming. Right?
For sure. Yeah. And I love that, as you say, there's nothing like this near you. Yeah. This is why the other very unique thing that we did was go online and teaching adults online, because beginning swimming for adults just really virtually isn't out there. It's like, let's teach them like they're children. And then the adults are like, no, this isn't working.
Now, can you share with our listeners where you're recording from today?
So I'm in Seattle, Washington.
And when did you decide to take your business online?
Fortunately, we did it. We decided to do that in, oh my gosh, the numbers, 2019, not 99. I wanted to say 1999. No, 2019.
Well, that is interesting that you did it before COVID, because I feel like so many businesses didn't turn to be online until COVID had kind of forced everything to go online. Were there, what were some obstacles you had trying to get it to be online versus in person, or was it pretty smooth?
Well, the big reason why we went online is because first of all, we have people who fly in for our classes all the time, or we do retreat courses. So we knew that people weren't getting the services that they needed in their local communities. And so, but not everybody can travel to Seattle or to Hawaii or, wherever else that we might be doing classes. And I knew the information was so different and so potent for people. So I knew it would translate online as well. So, so really the hurdles, of course, is just, I'm a swim teacher, a business owner, not a videographer, an editor. Fortunately, at that time, doing things online, doing online videos, you were allowed a lot of graciousness of it being self-done. So I was able to just go and give it a whirl. I'm now in the process of updating those things because, of course, the quality and the audio of some of those things are pretty rudimentary, let's say. But I just had a driving passion to make sure that anybody who wants the information had it accessible to them.
Now, you specialize in helping adults, this is your own words that you email me, helping adults overcome their fear of water and become confident, joyful swimmers. Where did you get this business idea from? Like, were you on a swim team growing up and you love swimming, or what's the backstory?
Sure. I mean, I've been teaching swimming since I was probably 14 years old. So it was definitely, I was the kid who was hanging out at the pool, was there all summer. It was either do summer camp or be a volunteer at the swimming pool. I'll be a volunteer at the swimming pool was my thing. So I've always had a love and a passion for hanging out around the pool. And it's what I did through high school and through college. And when I moved to Seattle, I worked as a full-time volunteer for a year. I was a part of a program. So, of course, after being a volunteer for a year, the easiest, fastest thing to do was back at the pool. In which time I'm like, well, maybe not just do this for somebody else, but here's the problems that I see in the system. Maybe I'd do it for myself. So that's kind of how we got started into it.
And you had started this business about 25 years ago. which is amazing. And what are some problems that you had seen for those years leading up to launching your business that you decided that you wanted to address?
So the biggest thing that I saw was that swimming lessons, and I was mostly focused on children at the time, but swimming lessons are set up with this pass fail dynamic. And they're set up with, you sign up for, if it's a summertime, maybe it's once a day for 2 weeks, or during the fall season, or it might be for 6 weeks, right? Once a week for 6 weeks. And at that time, your kid's just getting to know the instructor, is just getting to develop trust. And then you have to re-sign up again and change teachers. So that was one of the things. The other thing was this idea that most programs, kids end up having to repeat level 1 several times, level 2 several times. So there's all this consoling of parents that it's okay. And I just thought, this just doesn't make sense. It's just about meeting the learner where they are, and letting them progress, and not having to call them a failure because they didn't pass level 1, but they still made progress that was right for them. So we redesigned our programs to be able to really meet the learner where they were, instead of trying to fit the learner into a system.
I love that because each person learns differently and they come with different ideas about water and things like that. So is the first lesson more of like face to face, just a discussion, or do you do like a preview phone call, or how's it set up?
For our adult students now, just thinking we were talking about the kids there before, all of our sessions start with a talking session, because with adults, your cognitive way of being, so your mental thoughts about things, is so dominant. It's such a dominant way of learning for adults from their brain. Whereas children, right, their dominant way of learning is through their bodies. And so it's the adults around them put them in safe situations for them to explore their body and figure out how the world works. So that's how children in general work. But adults go the other way. They start from the brain down. So we have to start from the brain down as well and meet them there.
Now, you're helping people reconnect with their bodies and confront long held fears, is what you had mentioned to me in your email, and prove to themselves that they're capable to change at any age. What is the oldest adult that you've helped learn to swim so far?
Well, the older they get, the less likely they are to tell me their exact age. But in the 80s for sure. Yeah, we have 80-year-olds who come out, which are just, I mean, we have a woman actually who just started this weekend. I don't know how old she is, but just by the look of her body, I mean, she's very frail, but she's a 9-year survivor of pancreatic cancer, which is just phenomenal. I mean, that pancreatic cancer is a really hard one. It
Yeah.
hits people very quickly, oftentimes. So for her to be a 9-year survivor, and then she's out there, and you can tell she's had a lifelong personal fear and cultural. I have no doubt she comes from a cultural story to keep her afraid as well. And she is just delighted, like, here I am. I can't even believe it. It's an amazing thing to see.
For most of the older folks, why have they decided at this age to learn to swim? Do you typically hear why?
Because why not?
Yeah.
They're fine. They're at the stage of, um, if not now, it's never
Yeah.
going to happen, right? And the beautiful thing with swimming, with the water, I mean, people oftentimes when they're younger, they want to learn it because it's something you can do at any age, right? They're not going to go out and start power running or distance biking or something like that when they're 80, because you fall in those things, you're really going to be hurt. But swimming, oh, it's so gentle for you. It feels so good.
My husband's grandmother, before she passed away, she did a lot of like water aerobics classes at the place that she was living at, and she loved it. It's also interesting because I have 7 siblings, and all of like, everyone now has a significant other, and 2 of my sister's boyfriends, they don't know how to swim, and my
Mm.
one sister, she is pregnant, and her husband decided, "We have a baby coming. It's important that I be able to learn how to swim," so they are just now embarking on that journey, and I said to her, "Oh, I'm speaking with a mom and business owner who has like an adult swimming business, so you'll have to listen to this episode."
Well, I love that you mentioned that's another great pivot point that of when people have children, we'll see those folks come out. And when children start to leave, right? Finally, it's my turn. We made sure my kids learned how to swim, but now it's my turn to be able to do it. So it's those transitional times.
What are some of the most common long-held fears that people are coming to you with?
Well, at the end of the day, it's that they're going to drown. Right. I mean, that's really the brass tacks. Most activities that you learn as an adult, you might feel like your life is at threat, right? You go and make a presentation in front of a stage, and you have all of the feelings as if it's the end of your life. But the truth is, people don't lose their lives doing most things that we learn how to do, even though our brain wants to pretend like that's what's going on. So that's really at the core of it. And so people are very diligent about wanting it to be right and getting it perfect and these sort of things. But then there's other things like I don't float, or I just seemingly out of nowhere kind of freak out, or I'm only safe if I can get to fill in the place, the destination, which inherently leaves people unsafe where they are. And so it feels very scary.
Can you walk our listeners through what a swim lesson for an adult coming to your class would be like?
Mhm. So like I said, we start with the mental part on land, and it's really starting to understand how to get the information. And we use a paradigm we call the foundations of change, which is 2 parts mental to 1 part physical. So this first piece is you have to be where you are. Kind of mindfulness practice is an easy way to look at it, because our brain wants to go to the future, right? Where in the future I might be in the middle of the ocean. Okay, but you're not right now. We have to know how to get to right now, because you can't be in charge of your body or get the information from your body if you're not in the present. So we're doing very simple things like standing in the water and helping us to actually get present to standing in the water, which may seem a little, I don't know, it's just too simplified, right? Too easy. Like, well, of course I can stand in the water. But most people who don't know how to swim stand in the water in a way that's anxiety producing. They're in anticipation mode. So they never can experience what it feels like to be calm
Calm. That's what I was gonna
in
say.
the water. Yeah. So we're going through a series of tiny steps where we're really anchoring back to, am I actually safe or not? And so then we're just adding tiny steps of curiosity. Okay, so I am actually calm standing in the water. Great. And I'm in charge of my safety. Great. Now I can decide, do I want to walk? Can I stay in charge of my safety? Can I stay calm? The answer is yes, then great. We'll take a step or 2 and we proceed in that sort of fashion.
Really just like building a strong foundation before it's jump in the pool. Are you doing this at the beach, or are you doing it like in a indoor pool, outdoor pool?
We're doing this in pools. We're starting in pools for sure. People, we do things in open water, like we do retreats to Hawaii, because ultimately people are like, I just really want to know how to snorkel and see what's under there. Do those sorts of water recreation things. So we do take people there, but not at the foundational level, right? We start people because you want to control for as many factors as you possibly can. I always say it's like a science experiment. Right? You're controlling for as many factors as you possibly can so you can really focus on one or two things at a time and understand those. And then you add more complexity.
Now, what size are these classes? Are they private lessons? Or are they small group?
The size of the class really depends on the size of the pool. So we never take more than 3 people to one instructor or helper. And then the class, it depends on the size of the pool, how many people we can easily and comfortably fit in. But so we do that way. We do private lessons as well. Um, and then, like I said, we do it online too. So that really is a private lesson online.
Now, is online more of your coaching people through what's in their mind, or how is it connected to water?
So we're coaching people through their mind, but we're also giving them, like I talked about, this very first step of standing in the water. I'm giving people tiny steps that they can do on their own at their own, usually public pool. Um, and because they have to be in a place that they have a backup plan of safety, right? So, because most of the time, I mean, if you go and you Google learn to swim and you get YouTube videos. They are really advanced things. They're teaching people who actually already know how to swim better is really what most of the content that's out there. And so what I'm giving people are the tiny steps that they just don't think of as being so foundationally important. And so I'm walking them through those steps and then so they can go do them. They give me feedback, they ask questions. I give them feedback, answer any questions that come back. It's a really, I wasn't sure back in 2019. I don't know if this is going to work. And then people started doing it. I was like, oh my gosh, they're asking me the same questions that they ask in person. They're having the same comments as our in-person students. It's amazing.
Was it your idea to take it online, or the coaches that you work with, or how did it end up online?
It was my idea to put it online for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's the driver of the business.
That's sweet. Now, what is the ratio of people you have flying in for lessons versus locals?
We're still primary local.
Mhm.
That's our, but I would say probably 25% of people fly in for classes. Yeah,
That's still a lot.
it is a lot. Yeah. And again, it's what really drove that impetus to put things online.
Is the Hawaii trip just once a year, or do you do it quarterly, or what's that like?
We do that annually. So yeah, yeah, taking folks out there.
Yeah. Now, how long had you had this business for before you decided to throw some kids in the mix?
So we pretty early on. So we started our business in 99 and got married in 2000. I always say it was easier to start a business than a life. Felt easier than so our first kiddo came along in 2002. So uh somewhat early in the business. It really is what drove us to have it the switch between starting a job for ourselves, and I say ourselves because my husband started it with me. um, it was a job, just us going out and doing all the work, and I said, no, we want to have kids, so it needs to be a business. We need to have staff, we need to cultivate and set it up so we're the managers of it and not the day-to-day implementers of it.
And what was that switch like? How long did it take for you to transition into that role?
It was pretty quick because, yeah, bringing on staff. We had both, trained teachers and had done that before in our previous work. So it was probably a year into it that we started hiring staff and bringing staff on. Yeah.
What was it like juggling a newborn and a full blown business? Was it a smooth transition for you, or were you still trying to figure out mom life and business at the same time?
For sure, figuring out both at the same time. You had mentioned your baby, and it made me think back to I can still see my firstborn. My father-in-law watched him for us, and he just loving, wonderful man, but also kind of gruff and just to the point. And he just came in and scooped up my baby and took him away. And I can see his little face over his shoulder as he's walking away. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my baby doesn't know if this is the last time he ever sees me, which is, totally dramatic and over the top. But oh my goodness, the heart wrench of watching that baby go off and be with this very loving, beautiful person that I wanted him to have a relationship with, but it was still, took a piece of my heart with him.
What are some key lessons that you learned as a mother and entrepreneur that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I think really this key lesson. I mean, time is what comes to mind. Is to prioritize the time of the business and time. Having time for both things. Obviously, I think probably especially as women, as the mom, you're feeling this need to always give to your family. But I think especially now that my kids are older and I can, have the hindsight, right, is to realize how important it was for my kids to see me run a business and to see me be there for my business. And we talked about our business. And I think that is just as vital as me being there at their scout things or their, participating in their events, as me showing up powerfully in the world as a woman, I think was very important to their growth.
Did they help you as they were growing up in the business in any way?
They certainly do in terms of, um, because we have a pool, so there's some of this just kind of maintenance and that sort of thing. Um, they don't help me a lot in the business in the day to day, but it's certainly because my business deals with mental wellness and mental health. We talk about these concepts a lot, and it has been very pivotal in their own thinking about fear and learning and how the brain works, because we were able to have these conversations that was about students, not about them. But I know those lessons poured into them over the years.
Now, helping people learn how to swim, we are talking about this whole time how it is a lot of emotion as well as actually learning how to do it. And you had written that overcoming fear in the water often unlocks confidence in other areas of life. Are there people that have reached back out to you and have said, like, oh, ever since learning how to swim, I'm so much more confident and I do XYZ? Or what are some examples?
For sure. I mean, we have people come back and they're like, well, I broke up with that relationship, or I asked for that raise, or I took a new job, or people have some big things. Um, there's a little chicken and egg thing that will happen with the learn to swim, people who are ready to take on a new challenge. It could be because they had something disruptive happen and they're like, okay, I can do anything then. Or it goes the other way. This learning to swim becomes disruptive of like, oh my gosh, if I kept believing this about myself and it was so easy and wonderful to change, it is empowering then to take that to other areas. But yeah, there are a few breakups that have happened.
It's like a wake-up call.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm actually important and I can listen to myself and trust myself. And Yeah, not you so much.
That's so amazing that you are the catalyst for that change in other people's lives. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and it is I like to always say, people will oftentimes thank me, which of course I'm gracious about, but I also think I couldn't do it without them, without the individual who's ready and willing to take the information and put it into action. That's really the pivotal piece is the person saying, "Yes, I'm going to give this a go. I'm willing."
Now, balancing motherhood and being entrepreneur is not always smooth sailing. What has been the most stressful about managing both roles, either as your kids were growing up or now that they're older?
I think back to that one of time, it's uh, very easy. When something gets difficult, parenting is a good reason to like not dip into it, right? If there's a hard decision I have to make with the business or I'm doing something that's not particularly pleasant or enjoyable, these priorities of parenting really can be like, nope, I have to take care of that. And so, me managing my own mind around those priorities and how to set those boundaries, that was that was a tricky one, right? And that continues to be. I can see it even now today. I'm like, oh, gee, it isn't about my kids because now the cats are like being the distraction or whatever, something else. Okay, this has to do about me and my desire to avoid some hard things. So having to continue to do my own self transformation around sticking in some of those harder things.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We are going to pivot to our rapid fire 5 and 5, which is a little bit more about you. So people get to learn some more about you. So, my first question for you is what do you do to recharge and how do you find time for yourself?
My biggest recharge is I have a beautiful and actually I'm looking at it as I'm sitting here. I have a beautiful green belt behind my house, and it's just like a quarter-mile loop out into the trees and nature that takes me to the lake, and that is my if I find back to that something I don't wanna do, take a walk around the block. It calms the brain down, calms the body down, is usually inspiring for me, and then I can come back and deal with whatever I want need to deal with.
I love going for walks. I mean, just exercise in general for me. I feel like when I'm stuck in a rut, I just have to do it. It helps recharge, yeah, and calm. So I love
Mhm.
that. What are you currently reading or listening to?
Um, okay, I'm currently listening to I think it's called Onyx. Sure, I proper nouns is hard for me, but it's, it's actually something that my son was reading, and my
What?
friend calls it they're dragon books. They're these dragon books.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a series.
It's a series, the newest one just came out. It's just it's very silly and light and, actually not usually my style because there's a lot of fighting in it. I kinda, like, fast forward through that, which means I fast forward through most of the book.
There are a lot of people I talked to recently who are into the like that kind of genre. There's Jay Moss or something, or Sarah Moss, people keep saying, and she sounds like she's in that genre too.
Mm,
So,
mhm. Yeah.
from a business owner perspective, who is your role model?
Who is my role model? Well, I was trained as a life coach with Brooke Castillo. And there's a lot of if anybody she's a life coach, but she's very controversial in some regards. She likes to go out and talk about women making millions of dollars. So, but I just love her boldness around women being, as you say, being a badass.
Yeah, is
Going
she controversial because she talks about what people make?
She's controversial. I mean, at the time when she first started doing like, you shouldn't it was the idea that why don't tell women that they can go out and make $1 million, because not all women are going to make $1 million, and you're going to make people feel bad about that. Or don't sell them on, because of course she's also selling things. She's trains people. And so don't sell them on the idea that they're going to be trained and then make $1 million. I think, yeah, not everybody is going to make $1 million, but it's helpful to be aspirational, because it drives and inspires us, and it's about the process of who we become along the way, and that we have a vision of bigness. So I really appreciate that from her.
Yeah. Anyone that has all the pieces and can put them in the right order, they can make $1 million, is what I feel like.
Yeah.
You just got to get your pieces in order.
Yes. And it's not easy, and it's worth cultivating and working towards.
Yeah. All right. What's the song you blast the shit out of if entrepreneur mom life is too much for you that day?
Oh, this is one that's really hard for me. Because it is names and titles. Music is
Are you gonna have to sing a little piece of it for us?
I don't know. Like
my
my brain, I'll tell you the truth here. My brain goes to teenagehood time of like that. When did everybody start listening to The Cure? And I didn't even know about it. And I'm behind the times. Like my brain just gets a little petrified when it comes to naming songs.
What's a song that you love to listen to that if you were gonna hop in the car right now, you would just turn on?
Well, maybe it would be something from like the Indigo Girls, or I'm kind
Okay.
of that era in time.
Nice. And so I just asked this because, and people that have listened to our episodes for a while know that when your episode comes up on Instagram and I like introduce you, I'm putting the song that you like to listen to. So I will look up something by the Indigo Girls.
Nice.
And what is some advice that you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom who might be ready to call it quits?
Take a breath, take a shower, and give it a minute. Yeah, because we don't want to make those kinds of decisions when you're in a saboteur type of brain space, when you're in urgency, when you're in rushing or overwhelm. So be curious about that place of where the desire to quit is coming from, and see, is there something to learn from there? Is there really a question there? Is there something that you can slow down into and see? It could be time, but it also could just be the urgency of the moment. We don't want to make our decisions in those moments.
You said take a shower, which is funny because someone that I spoke to last week had said the same thing. And that was the first re-recording this new season is the first time anyone said, take a shower.
Take a shower. I don't know how many times my office manager and I have been like, okay, I was in the shower and.
That is so true. It's so funny. At night, so I have a business with one of my sisters. We have a real estate team, and she will just get text messages from me the minute I get out of the shower. I'll be like, hey, I was in the shower and I thought of this idea. And it's every night between 9 and 10 at night. So she knows now, but at the beginning she was like, what the heck?
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit like that, taking the walk. It takes your focus off. Yeah. It feels good. Yeah. Things like that get you into a different kind of inspirational mind.
Again, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing about your journey and sharing your business with us. If listeners wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way that they could get in touch?
Well, our website is adultswimlesson.com. So that's a great way to get in touch with us. On the social media, it's Calm Within Adult Swim.
And people can find you on Facebook and Instagram, or just Instagram?
Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweet. And as listeners know, I always leave you with a quote. Today's is, one day your hard work will be someone else's inspiration. Thank you so much for coming on. And everyone, we will chat next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.